It's gonna get better, never stay the same. It's gonna get better. It's gonna get better.
Welcome to the Ericka James Show. I'm so glad you're with me here today, where we're going to talk about life on purpose. What would it look like if you really lived your life fully on purpose, leaving nothing on the table, all of your potential fully realized? That's what we're exploring on our show with specific steps. I'm literally unleashing years of working with individuals, leading and guiding them in creating a life that is well lived, but most of all, fulfilling their purpose. We're digging in today on discovering your superpower. Want to talk about what your superpower is? We're hearing that lingo a lot, and there's lots of different ways to think about what is your superpower. But this is what I want you to know. You were born with something that sets you apart from anybody else. You do it differently, you do it better, you do it naturally, and you do it effortlessly. That's your superpower. And we're going to help you uncover that. And when you discover your superpower, you can tap in to all you were created to be. There's other ways people describe superpower. I've heard it described as your genius, your highest and best use, your greatest strengths. There's so many different tests you can take. But I want to submit to you that if you just took time to think it through and get still, it's going to bubble up to the top. That thing that you do so uniquely. I'm going to bring you 3 power steps later in the show that are going to give you specific steps in how to walk it out. And then later in the show, we're actually going to activate this prophetic gift, and I get to bring a live prophetic word to somebody that's going to help them know what season they're in and know how to walk out their purpose. So as we talk about superpowers, I have a story to tell you, and I'm just bearing it all. So this is the truth. When I was a little girl, I used to play Wonder Woman. Nobody was ever home, and I lived in a house that the living room and the kitchen were on one level, and I would put a sweater on my head, and I would wrap the sweater up, and I would go around, and there was some trial, some world issue, something that needed solving, and I would be my own background music, and I would go hide around the corner of the broom closet, and I would go, Wonder Woman. This was the 70s. I don't know what to say, but I really did. And I used to play Wonder Woman. And what I realized is that nobody grows up playing emotionally challenged. Nobody grows up saying, let's just do a little less than in our playtime. When we are little kids, we are going for it. We are limitless. We are thinking about the fact that we can conquer the world. There's no obstacles, no problems. At least that's how I thought about it. And I really thought I could change the world. And then life happens. Obstacles come up. We get derailments. We get challenges. For me, it's been single motherhood. I raised my daughter as a single mother, which was the challenge of my life. And insanely enough, I decided I'm going to start 2 businesses and a ministry in the process and build her dreams in the process. It was a lot. And I felt for years like I was derailed. Like that Wonder Woman game I used to play, that sweater just got folded up in the closet or gone to Goodwill. It was gone. But I wanted to learn how to dig in. How do I access that again? And I really started to pray about, think about, be quiet about, what is my highest and best use? What is the thing that I am masterful at? What is the thing that I was created to do? Here's the key. I didn't try to figure it out. I asked. I stopped and spent quiet time and literally asked God. And I know I say literally a lot, but the reason why is because people ask me oftentimes, no, really, Ericka, what do you really do? And so when I say I literally do something, I'm telling you literally, this is the 1, 2, 3 ABC step. I sit down on my prayer pillow that's in the corner of my bedroom, or sometimes it's on my bed in the morning, wherever that is, and I get still. And every day I do what's called closing the gap. If this is where I am and this is where I want to be, how do I close the gap today? What do I need to focus on to close the gap? And I always get an answer every single day, either some inner knowing or I actually hear it through my just the ability to hear the Holy Spirit. But I always know what to focus on. And every single day is about continuous quality improvement. Now I'm happily married. Thank goodness. I'm always telling my husband, don't look back at who I was yesterday. I'm trying to be somebody new today. I'm trying to close the gap. And so where's the gap in your life? What is that looking like? And what if you could close it on a daily basis? You walk this thing out. You tap in to what makes you extraordinary. You tap into that and you build something big. That's what we're here to do. That's what I'm here to do, to really partner with you and be on this journey with you so you can not have to be like me that had to play Wonder Woman, but you get to experience your superpower. I want to challenge you to touch your greatness every single day. Do you know how great you are? What would it look like in your life if you started to touch it every day? If you spent that quiet time and said, okay, there's greatness in here. How do I begin to access it? And I'm going to give you some power steps later that you can begin to walk out really specifically to do the actual work. Otherwise, we just sound like we're inspiring, we're motivating. It's all about transformation for me. That's what it's about, being transformed, not looking at the world to define you, not waiting on someone to give you permission to be who you already are. If there's anyone out there watching, if you've been waiting for someone to come and tap you on the shoulder and say, it's your turn, I'm tapping you on the shoulder right now. It's your turn. It's your time. And it's your season. It's your season to access that superpower, access that greatness within, access that genius, access your best strength. It was so challenging for me to do research on this, and I found out less than 50% of people use their greatest strength on a daily basis. So that means half of us are living day in and day out, and we are not even utilizing our greatest strengths. So I want to help you find those and not give you an assessment, not give you a checklist, but I want to help you go within so you can access it because I believe it is locked in your DNA. It's already in you. We just have to uncover it. I don't want you to be one of those 50%. I want to be the real life Wonder Woman in my life where I am modeling being a superhero for my daughter, for my husband and our children, that we are modeling that. And I don't have to send my child to social media to find her hero. I don't have to do that. That she can look to me and say, hey, I want to model. I admire, I want to model what my mom's about. And I strive to do that every single day. So we're going to talk more about specific power steps that you can implement. I'm going to give it to you literally 1, 2, 3. So we can walk this out. I'll tell you some more stories and we are going to continue to do this thing together. Because why? You're extraordinary and it's time to build something even more extraordinary. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Ericka James Show. We are talking all about discovering your superpower, your mojo, your juice, your special sauce, whatever you want to call it. That's what we're talking about on today's show because it really takes understanding that. Some people call it your level of mastery. Whatever you call it, it is that strength, those gifts that you carry that are natural to you, that you can actually work on aligning your life and taking it to a whole new level. I call it up-leveling. One of my favorite words, up-level. So how do we begin to recognize our superpower? We all have them. I shared earlier how I used to play Wonder Woman as a little girl. And now the new Wonder Woman movie's out. Do you know I watched it just the other day? Just as a reminder that I'm fearless, I'm wonderful, I'm fabulous. All of those things that we need to say to ourselves to help discover our superpower. So let's dig in to what I call the power steps, because I want to leave you with specific steps that you can start to implement right now. No waiting. You don't have to order another book. Not right now. I got you. So let's talk about the power steps. Number 1, I want you to ask. We talk about asking a lot on this show, but I want you to ask yourself, 3 different key inquiries. And as a master coach for the last 20 years, I've been coaching executives, coaching leaders. And one of the things that we talk about in the practice of coaching, there's powerful questions and then there's inquiries. And inquiries are those questions that you have to ponder for a minute. I need to think about that. It's not a first thought, may not even be your second thought. So I'm going to give you 3 key inquiries that will help you begin to unlock and realize and get clarity around what your superpower is. Number 1, I talked about ask, but let's talk about the key inquiry I want you to ask. It's a simple one. What brings you joy? If you could do it anytime you wanted, what would it be? Not happiness. Happiness is circumstantial. I'm talking about joy that makes you bubble up from the inside. What brings you joy? What makes your belly laugh? What makes you feel warm and fuzzy? That's what I want to get to. So I have another key inquiry for you that goes with the first power step. If you could imagine yourself making a living doing anything, what would it be? This was an exercise that became very familiar to me at a point in my life where I felt like I was floating away from my purpose. I was overwhelmed in my life and just felt like I was so far away. And I asked myself that question. If I could make my money or make my living any way, what would it be? Do you know it was about 22 years ago? And this is what I wrote on that paper that day. I'm really good at helping people access their greatness and not just feel it, but actually to do something with it. From that moment, I changed my life. It sounds like it was easy. It was rough. And what I put myself on was a project I called Project Humpty Dumpty, put Ericka back together again. I don't know any other cute way to sugarcoat it, but I felt like I had lost myself. I felt like I don't know who I am. I'm working paycheck to paycheck, struggling, suffering silently. Project Humpty Dumpty, put Ericka back together again. And that was the first exercise I gave myself and defined what that looked like. And at the time, I hadn't even heard of coaching. I didn't know it existed. And then I said, okay, I love keynoting, I love speaking, I love the workshops, but I want to get off stage and walk this thing out with people. And I didn't know I was describing coaching. And within a matter of days, something was put before me about an upcoming coaching class. And I said, coaching? It was called Become a Professional Personal Coach. It was like light bulbs went off. I didn't even know there was such a thing. A professional personal coach? Nobody knew anything about it. So I signed up for classes, went to take classes, and I said, I'm going to come out of these classes thinking, acting, being like that coach. I want to make my living doing what I'm called to do, doing that purpose that I knew I did better than anybody else I knew. And it wasn't about comparing myself. It was just about being clear. And that's what I did. I overhauled and redesigned my life. On my Project Humpty Dumpty plan, I wrote out 12 things that were off in my life. And I spent a month focusing on each one. And at the end of the year, this was my promise to myself. I'm not just going to be in the ballpark. I want to be in the bullseye of living my purpose. And I had absolute focus that year. And that year transformed my life. But I started with that question. If I could make my living any way, what would I do? I have another inquiry for you. And I can't claim this one as an original one. I actually got it from Tim Ferriss. And it's in one of his books. I don't know if it's 4-Hour Workweek or whatever. But he asked the question, if you only had 2 hours a week to work, what would you do? If you only had 2 hours, those 2 hours had to be amazing. You had to hit that home run in doing whatever your area of mastery is. What would you do? Do you know what my answer was? I would film a TV show. What would you do if you had 2 hours a week and you could delegate everything else in your life? That's I'll call it your power inquiry number 2. And your power inquiry number 3 is practice. Once you begin to unearth these things in you, it takes practice. It's a succession of baby steps. And the real work happens when no one is watching. And I sometimes get concerned because we're in this age of social media and we just snap a picture and throw it up there and it looks a certain way. I'm talking about getting behind the veil, talking about living with intention and authenticity, that it's who you are, whether someone's watching or not, whether you can take a selfie or not at that moment. That's what we want to get to. So you can unearth that superpower, be crystal clear about it, and every single day you practice. What is your superpower? I love reading success stories, and I remember one success story of a man who wanted to be a broadcaster when he grew up. And it was the one thing he wanted to do, and I think he started just make-believing that he was taping in front of the camera every single day. By himself, in his mirror, with his family, without his family, didn't matter what his friends thought. And he did that every single day because he knew his superpower was his ability to host on camera. His name's Ryan Seacrest. We see him everywhere now. So what is your superpower? What are you called to do? And are you practicing it on a daily basis, whether people are watching or not? I don't care if you're in a job to pay the bills right now. I want you to practice. Got another inquiry for you. And this one was life-changing for me. A friend of mine gave me a simple inquiry that I read every single day on the way out of the door. It reads in a framed photo frame she got me. It says, what would you do if you knew you could not fail? So I really want to invite you to think about that. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? So those are your key inquiries I want you to think through. I love journaling, highly suggest you journal. And I'm going to come out, this is my promise to you, I'm going to come out with the Ericka James Show journal just so you can journal and discover your superpower in it. And do it more often. And do it so often that you can't not do it. And the key is then the team will begin to come that you can delegate to when you operate in your highest and best use, when you operate in your genius, when you operate in your dominant gift, the world adjusts. So you got the power steps. Number 1, ask yourself, what brings you joy? If you could make your money any way, if you could make a living doing anything, what would you do? Number 2, the inquiry. And number 3, practice. Practice your superpower. It takes time to perfect. Even Wonder Woman had to practice. Remember that? If you've seen that movie, she started young, but she practiced. So stay with me because next we have a prophetic session coming up with another Ericka. She spells her name differently, and she is working on discovering her superpower. And we're going to go live with this session so you can glean from it and know exactly what you need to do to live on purpose or to take your purpose to the next level. We'll be right back. I am so glad you are hanging in there with me because now is the time in the show that we talk about, well, no, we're not just talking about it. We're going to go live on the prophetic. Today we're talking about discovering your superpower, and I want to share with you a session I did with Ericka. She's a different Ericka, out of a different state, but she had some questions in terms of her purpose, her calling. She's pretty clear about that, but she wanted some areas of clarity. Take a look. So welcome, Miss Ericka. I'm so excited to have you on. I was introing this segment. I said, it's another Ericka that we're having on tonight. So I'm so excited that you have said yes to this adventure with me, this prophetic adventure. So we are going to dive right in. Just a couple of heads up. You're going to see me probably looking down and writing, where I'm just receiving whatever downloads that I may be getting in addition or in response to the questions you ask. And again, I have no idea what questions Ericka is going to ask me. We are just going for it. And so it's my prayer that everybody can glean from this. And I'm just really ecstatic to have this time together. So with that, I am ready for your questions.
Okay, so my first question. So in the industry that I'm in, engineer, and I'm in the oil and gas industry, what does God have for me to create? I keep getting messages about a patent, and I need clarity around what it is that he's asking me to create in this time. And then the other question is concerning my purpose partner, who I know God has prepared for me. So what I'm wondering there is, what is the impact that we're going to be bringing to the world globally together?
Okay.
So those are my two questions.
Okay. So initially, before as you were giving me your questions, I just kept hearing more, more. And I was like, what is more? And I put a big exclamation mark, more. And the Lord said, you're crying out for more. He has more. It's time for more. Like everything is about more. I'm like, okay. So when you started to ask me the question about what industry God wants, or what he has you in, the oil and energy, right?
Oil and gas. I'm an engineer.
Do you know I didn't know that about you?
You didn't know that?
No, I'm just like, she's just a world changer. I never knew you were an engineer. So when you were saying it, I was like, what?
19 years.
It's
19
plain
years.
as day. Ericka, I heard he wants you to invent a regulating valve. He said that there is too much waste, and I'm not by any far stretch of the imagination an engineer, but he's showing me that the amount of energy or gas or oil, whatever the fuel is, coming into whatever this thing that converts it to energy is, there is a tremendous amount of waste. And there's something about a valve that is going to maximize like 90 to 93%. And he's showing me now it might be like, 12 to 20%, like 20% maximization, whatever the language is good. And there's some valve that he's going to have you create. And he says he has the witty invention. You need to just sit and receive the blueprint.
Wow.
But a regulating valve to eliminate, he said, no waste, to eliminate the drastic amount of waste that right now is involved in that process that I know nothing about. And so, yeah, heard as plain as day. I was like, whoa.
Okay.
Regulating valve.
Okay.
And he still does want you to ignite people's dreams. He's like, you're a dream igniter, a dream incubator. So when you ask the question about your purpose partner, I saw you all creating great wealth. So I kept seeing all these big checks being written. He was showing me like, you already know that wealth is coming, like, it's in your bones. But there's organizations that he's placed on your heart to give to. The resources haven't matched the desire of your heart. And so I see you being able to literally fund many, many different programs in a big way, major donor. So a philanthropist is going to be really big for you with your purpose partner. And then I saw an entrepreneurial incubator. And usually I'll get, people say, oh, do I have a partner or something? But the Lord is saying that he's into STEM. He's a nerd. Is he in your life?
No.
Okay.
No.
So he is into STEM, science, technology. Is that engineering, math? Okay. He's a STEM nerd. And he's so into it that he's going to be preserved where he won't, like, he'll be handsome and all that, but he's going to be so into it. He has no clue. And I see you all together igniting STEM programs, entrepreneurial incubators. I feel like the STEM piece is more his, the entrepreneurial incubator is more yours. And you are a dream igniter. That is an assignment that must be fulfilled. Fulfilled.
What does that look like?
It looks like you, the Lord said, everything you've been through, that you start to gather other women in particular that have been through some things, and that's dreams, that pilot light of their dreams started to dim, but they'd still have it if only they had the structure, the instruction, and the resources. They would do it. And so it looks like I see you gathering women with dreams, helping them incubate their ideas. And it's also going to be a way to create residual wealth for yourself, although that is not by any far stretch of the imagination your primary purpose for it.
Right.
He's showing me before your purpose partner comes, as you're getting, really leaning back into his presence so he can download this to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing more really, really, really good sister friends coming. Like more fun, more, feels like you're coming out of a season of intensity, but a little more lightheartedness in the midst of you, inventing some revolutionary regulating valve, but still to have a little bit more fun.
Wow.
Yeah. And more music. Like God's saying you used to dance. He wants you to dance again. Like you used to dance. Just throw on the stereo and dance. He wants you dancing more. And it's not just dancing, it's like sloughing off just the old stuff. Just movement's going to be really big in this season. And then the only other thing I'm seeing with your purpose partner, it's like two genius minds uniting. So you all will have all kinds of ideas and the resources to make them happen. You're more the relationship person, and he's an idea, like he'll write the blueprint, like he's really, really genius.
Wow.
But they're very interconnected. As you're doing whatever God's going to have you do for this invention, he's going to be on that path. All right, my darling. I love that. Oh, I'm so grateful when God's just really clear. I love it.
Yes.
It's just getting clearer and clearer. So let me know how it goes. Keep me updated. And if any more questions come up, I'm not too far, but thank you for being willing to just be a part of this prophetic adventure with me. And congratulations on everything that God has you up to.
Thank
just
you.
The restoration, it just feels like you're in that last part of being just fully restored. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, my darling. I will talk to you soon. I hope that was a blessing for you to see, and you were able to get a few tidbits that you can take into your world. Remember, you can spend quiet time and begin to tap into that frequency and ask those key questions. Remember your power steps, because I don't want you just to exist. I want you to live based on who you were created to be. I want you to do better, be better, live better, because the best life is the life lived on purpose. I'm here to remind you that you are extraordinary. You are unstoppable. You are magnificent. And the most important thing is to do something with it so we can build something extraordinary. Thanks for spending this time with me, and I'll see you next time on the Ericka James Show.